coaches? Welcome back to reflection number 6 on my U11 boys basketball team. Before I hop into a reflection, I just want to take a few seconds to tell you about something really exciting. If you haven't seen it yet, I'm putting on a summer coaching series this summer beginning June 1st. It's going to consist of 10 weekly presentations plus 2 bonus presentations from coaches and experts from across sports that are going to be filled with practical ideas that you can use in your coaching. The sessions are going to be every Wednesday at 12 o'clock Central Standard Time, and those bonus sessions will be on a couple Sundays in July. When you sign up for the Summer Coaching Series, or SCS as I'm calling it, you'll get live access to all the sessions. You'll get video replays of every session. You will get the audio-only replays on a private podcast feed. So if you're like me, probably not going to sit down and rewatch the video. I'm going to give you the audio-only replay on your own private podcast feed. So when you get access, you'll get an RSS feed that you can put in your podcast app and listen to the replays if you can't join live. And then the last thing you'll get is detailed coaching notes from each session. If you saw the notes that I shared from the Ben Williams coaching Zoom, they're going to be notes just like that on every session. So if you're interested, you want to learn more, see all the awesome speakers that we have, and or sign up, just go to summercoachingseries.com to learn more or sign up. And now for reflections on actually the last 3 practices. So I'm going to talk about practice 8, 9, and 10 briefly. Practice number 8. My big takeaway from practice number 8 was the importance of helping train players' habits. Habits that might be small, habits that aren't necessarily quote-unquote sexy, but have a big impact or effect on their ability to play the game well, and especially as they get older. And so, for example, in basketball with these U11s, a few of the habits I'm really trying to instill that I know will serve them well as they progress through the game is the first one is playing with vision. So when they have the ball, where are their eyes going? And when they don't have the ball, what are they doing with their eyes? What are they perceiving and seeing? The second one is reacting to pressure. What do they do when they experience pressure from a defense? For most athletes, they panic. And it's not just 11-year-olds. You see high school players do it all the time. So trying to train good habits of staying powerful when you're under pressure. The third habit on my mind was footwork. So this could be footwork on a shot. This could be footwork on a cut. Lots of different times and situations where footwork is really needed. Oftentimes, it's just the ability to stop well. And so we worked on stride stops in this practice, or just a 1-2 stop, players coming to a controlled stop so they don't travel, so they can play under control and within the rules, so they don't get called for a travel all the time, because we've all seen the athlete that they just really struggle to play under control, and in basketball, it leads to turnovers and it hurts your teams. And so that's a really important habit as well that I'm trying to instill at this young age, is just that footwork and playing under control. And the last one is spacing, just helping them understand where to be in relation to their teammates and defense is so important. I think that the more we can consider what are the most important or essential habits that these people in front of me need, these players in front of me need to be successful now and in the future, and then prioritize teaching and reinforcing those things, I think the better off they're going to be. I think it really is about teaching them how to play the game, not just spending our time teaching them plays, right? We want to teach them how. These are the habits you need to actually be successful at the game, regardless of what coach you play for or what system or strategy they run or use. So that was practice number 8. It's really hard to do, honestly, sometimes, but it's so important that we train those habits to help them change them, to develop good ones that are going to serve them. Practice number 9. Practice number 9, and if you've been listening to my podcast for a while, you've probably heard me talk about the importance of staying focused as a coach. And I think I probably talked about it in previous reflections, but I was just so reminded of it in practice number 9. I did a better job of staying focused on one thing in our games and drills, and I really noticed the difference. I was really focused on our spacing in transition offense in this practice, and it got significantly better. Now, it got better in the practice. Is it going to transfer to the game? I think it will in part, but it's not totally there yet for all of my athletes. There's still some learning still to be done. But when I stayed focused, when I was giving live feedback on that one thing I told them we were going to be focused on, there was improvement. And it was noticeable, and the quality of the game improved. And so, again, my big reflection or takeaway from practice number 9 was just focus, focus, focus. For us as coaches, what are we focused on, and can we stay focused on it during this game or drill? Because if we can't stay focused on it, then they're not going to stay focused on it. So important that we stay focused. And then practice number 10, a couple things that stood out from this practice, and I actually just kind of mentioned it there with practice number 9. In practice number 10, one of my big takeaways was that if it's not showing up in the game yet, they haven't learned it yet. So I mentioned that example from practice 9, we're really focused on our transition offense spacing. It improved while we were focused on it. In practice number 10, we were focused quite a bit on our off-ball defensive positioning. Where am I on defense when I'm not guarding the ball, when I'm guarding someone else? And we focused on this concept of playing help defense, or if my man is further away from the ball, I'm closer to the midline or the center of the court, called the help line. And while we focused on this concept within a game using a constraint, our players really improved. Now, some of them had some background knowledge of this concept and had worked on it before, so they were better at it. But a few of them really didn't have much background knowledge of it at all and really didn't know how to do it at all. And this was, I think, the second or third time we'd really emphasized this concept. And a few of those players that really struggled with it at the beginning were showing it in our constraint-led game there. They were doing a much better job of it as we were really, really focused on it. But then at the end of practice, when we had a scrimmage without coaching and I was just observing, most of those athletes that struggled with it reverted back to poor defensive positioning when they were off the ball. And I think it was just an important reminder for me of, okay, they haven't learned it yet. They haven't been exposed to it enough. They haven't had enough reps doing it for it to show up in the game yet. It would have been really easy to pause, get mad, and to say to a couple of these kids, what are you doing? We just worked on it. Where should you be in this situation? And get frustrated with them, but it's just not going to be helpful. There were a couple times when I, during a stoppage or play paused, where I gave a reminder reminder, if the ball's over there and your man's here, where should you be? But it's just important to remember, man, learning takes time. And if it's not showing up in the game, they haven't learned it yet. Just because an athlete can do it or does it consistently in a game or drill where it's the focus doesn't mean they've learned it yet and it's going to transfer. I think we just need to realize that and keep that at the forefront of our mind and have realistic expectations. Hey, we worked on this a couple times, but it's not going to show up perfectly in the game in practice or the actual game when we play. And so that was one of the things that stood out for me from practice 10 is just remembering, hey, if it's not showing up in the game, they haven't learned it yet. And that means they need more reps with it. They need more exposure to it. I need to teach it again. We need to continue to focus on it until it does start to show up in the game. In the last part from practice number 10 was just the importance of fun. The importance of fun. You know, the organization that I'm coaching with this spring, one of their core values is fun. And we've talked about it this season. Hey, what is fun? We've defined it together. What does fun look like in basketball practice? How do we have fun here? And I don't think as coaches, we spend enough time intentionally planning or thinking about how we're going to make it fun. And we need to. And I think for a lot of us, we might just need to give up 5 minutes of our practice to just have some fun. And one of the things that I try to do at least once a week, we have 2 practices a week, I try to do this once, is into practice with what we call celebration knockout. And if you're familiar with basketball, it's knockout. So if the person behind you makes it before you make it, you're out. But in celebration knockout, if you get knocked out, you become the biggest fan for the person who knocked you out. And then if someone knocks them out, then you would become their fan, and so on and so forth, until at the end of the game, there's 2 people left, and everyone that's got knocked out is cheering for one of the 2 of them. And a couple things. One, it's fun. Kids just love playing knockout. But then 2, it reinforces 2 of our values, actually, of selfless and fun. Because when someone gets knocked out, the expectation is that they cheer and go crazy for the person that knocked them out, that they celebrate them while they're competing, and they have fun doing it. There's smiles, they're chanting for the teammate that they're cheering for. It's just fun. And I love ending our practices this way because regardless of what happened in the 85 minutes before that, every kid, with the exception of maybe the final two, the kid that gets knocked out, has a smile on their face when we're ending. And it's just fun. And I think it's important for us to remember that the reason they started playing the game is because it was fun, and we need to make sure that our practices are fun. Playing the game, getting better at the game is absolutely a key part of fun. And I think it's okay if you take 5 minutes to just really say, okay, this isn't about basketball. This is just about fun, enjoyment, and smiles right here, because it's special and it's creating memories, things that hopefully stick with those young people long after they're done playing the game. And so that's kind of my final takeaway from practice number 10 is prioritize fun, make it a part of your plan. It's okay if you take 5 or 10 minutes just for fun. And it's important to their enjoyment. And honestly, I think to your enjoyment too as a coach. Well, that does it for this reflection on this U11 boys basketball team that I'm coaching. I hope that you're enjoying these and finding them valuable. If you have follow-up questions or want to connect and discuss some of these ideas, feel free to reach out to me. My email's in the show details. And just one final reminder about this summer coaching series. You're going to get 10 weekly presentations plus those 2 bonus sessions this summer from coaches and experts from across sports that I'm really confident are going to equip you to develop better teams, develop better players, and make a bigger impact, the impact you want to make as a coach. So if you want to learn more or sign up for the summer coaching series, just go to summercoachingseries.com.